Final piece for this unit, lesson 3b.3, which was our applications, word problems. This is our practice. We are going to turn to page 9 in our packet, and we're going to do word problem 1 and 2. And then on page 10, we're going to start with word problem 3, 4, and 5. So word problem 1 on page number 9 says the floor of the lobby of a theater is shaped like a rectangle. And before a performance start, a velvet rope is stretched diagonally across the lobby. Which of the following best describes the diagonal length of the lobby? So we know this side is 4 and across here is 8, so we can move this 4 over here or move the 8 up. Either way, the 4 and the 8 are going to be our legs. So we're going to have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So 4 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared because the rope is our hypotenuse. 16 plus 64 equals c squared. So it's going to give me 80 equals c squared. And I'm going to go ahead and take the square root of 80. And the square root of 80 turns out to be 8.9 equals c. So which of the following best describes the diagonal length? Between 8 and 9, 9 and 10, 10 and 11, 11 and 12. So this one, 8.9, is going to be between 8 and 9 meters. So for the first one, we're looking at letter A. For word problem number 2, for an art project, Calvin drew a rectangle inscribed in circle C as shown. The rectangle is 8 centimeters long and 6 centimeters wide. What is the diameter right here? So we're going all the way across. You notice this is an 8, that's a 6. This would be our right angle. So across here, if you remember the Pythag triple of 3, 4, 5, I can take 3, 4, 5, and I can double it to get 6, 8, and 10. So Pythag triple, 6, 8, 10. The diameter is 10 centimeters here. So we're able to do that. If not, you would have done 6 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared, and then you would have found out that c is going to be equal to 10. On the next page, we're going to do word problem 3, 4, and 5, and that will wrap it up for your practice. David needs to order fabric for a triangular sail with the dimensions shown below. The base of the sail is 12 feet long and the height is 16 feet. What is the value of x? So this across here is your hypotenuse. So you're going to have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 16 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. 16 squared is 256. 12 squared is 144, which is equal to c squared. Adding these two together, I get 400 equals c squared. And when I take the square root, 20 is equal to c. So this side right here is 20 feet. And that would be letter C. Word problem 4. To get from point A to B, you must avoid walking through a pond. To avoid the pond, you must walk 34 meters south and 41 meters east. To the nearest meter, how many meters would be saved if it were possible to walk through the pond? So we have to figure out how far is this distance through the pond. So notice that's going to be C. So we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 34 squared plus 41 squared equals c squared. So this is 1,156. 41 squared is 1,681 equals c squared. So we get 2,837 equals c squared. And we're going to go ahead and take the square root. And that's going to give us 53.2. And it does say to the nearest meter. So we're just going to go with 53 because it's a whole number. So across the pond then is 53 meters. So if we could save, how much could we save if it were possible to walk through the pond? So we walk 34 plus 41. So we end up walking 75 meters. If we go through the pond, it would only be 53. So the difference between those is 22 meters saved if you could actually just walk through the pond. I guess if you had a good pair of boots and some waders, you might be okay there. Depends how deep the pond is, though. All right, word problem number 5. Baseball diamond is a square with sides of 90 feet. So if we have a square, that's a horrible square, but my sides are 90. What is the shortest distance to the nearest tenth of a foot between first base and third base? Okay, so I did this kind of poorly because if I were really going to do this appropriately, I'd want it more like a diamond. All right, so let's say this is home plate right here. So this would be first, second, and third. So we're trying to throw from first to third, it looks like. Right angles right here. I'm trying to solve for the hippo C. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 90 squared plus 90 squared equals c squared. This is going to give me 8,100. 8,100 equals c squared. 16,200 equals c squared. Take the square root of 16,000. Whoops, it would help if I could type this morning. And to the nearest tenth of a foot, it says I got 127.279. So 127.3 feet would be my answer because I'm looking for foot. So 127.3 feet if I'm throwing from first to third base. That's it for lesson 3b.3, the practice.